Yeah, I'm a little overweight. Maybe we should play chess with our internal ops until we do what we do. We make the move and they're like, oh shit, I didn't see that coming. Where did he come up with that move? It's just a thought. It's just an observation. I would like to know your opinion. This brother Rich thought observation. Go ahead. Go ahead, my
Oh, you
brother.
really animated, Rich.
Yeah, go ahead.
I love it, though. I love it.
Yes, yes.
You know, it gets tricky how you do your self-talk, and you almost have to use a little bit of applied neuroscience on yourself. You know,
Okay.
you have to understand how to separate yourself from your thoughts, separate yourself from your own actions. Right, that's the biggest part of it. First of all, because until you separate yourself from your thoughts, you will be a victim of your own thoughts.
Yes.
And you'll be a victim of your self-talk.
Yes.
So I tell people all the time, if you see me talking to myself, don't interrupt me. I'm getting expert advice. But also, while I'm talking to myself, I've separated myself from my conscious thoughts and I observe my thoughts. You're not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. And when you can make that separation and see how you're responding to stimulus, see how you're emoting and what your emotions are, see what your triggers are, see how you're responding to situations around you, see how you're self-sabotaging yourself, see how you're self-doubting yourself, see how you're holding yourself back, see how you're procrastinating about everything that's going on that you're supposed to be getting done. When you can observe it from your higher self and look at it, oh yeah, see what I'm doing? I can see that. And once you can identify and bring awareness that it's you that's the problem, not anybody else, not anybody else, it's you. Go look in the mirror, put your phone on selfie mode, take a picture. You're the downfall of your own self. And then realize, okay, I see now. It is me. Admitting. The first step is admitting that you are part of the problem. If any alcoholic, any drug addict, they can't move forward, any type of rehabilitation until they first admit that they have a problem. Until you admit that you are part of the problem that's holding you in the position and place where you are, that's not achieving your goals, your dreams, and your hopes and everything else that you're looking to do, it's because it's you, yourself, holding you back, and you have literally allowed yourself to succumb to your own thoughts instead of separating from those thoughts and observing them from a higher self. And then what do? You reprogram your thoughts. You can hack into your own consciousness because you're not here. You're not local. Billy's not local. Dr. B's not local. Rich is not local. We're all, including everybody watching, we're all in a higher dimension. We are a beam of light coming in on an angle, angels, that's inhabiting this avatar body for a temporal, that means time, a very small temporal amount of time, very, very small. And during this process, during this time that we've been blessed with, it's a proving ground. How can you become an ascended master within these 87 to 99 years? Can you do it? Oh, we'll come back and try again. Can you do it this time? Come back and try again. Can you do it this time? You see, it's a part of the process. Realizing and understanding the reason why you're not achieving your weight loss goals and your fitness goals and any other goal you set for yourself is because it's you and you have literally become your thoughts. Separate yourself from your thoughts and realize and learn that you are the observer of the thoughts and you can control your thoughts by changing them, by hacking them and reprogramming them. And that's what we're going to be teaching in the workshop. It's going to be a powerful, powerful, powerful day. I'm going to teach you in this workshop how to tap into your doppelganger from the multiverse, one that's doing everything right. Because there's a version of you living the life that you want to live right now.
Yo, Billy, hold on. Billy, that's one of the most advanced meditation techniques that I've seen on the internet. Some people are scared of it, but there's a name, there's different names for it. One of the names is quantum jumping. And they're saying there's a version of you that exists that has everything you want. So say I want to be a piano player or a guitar player. There's a version of me that exists in the multiverse that already has that. During this meditation, I can meet that doppelganger version of myself, get what I have to get from it, and bring it back to this dimension. How the hell are you going to teach that, Billy? Billy, I can't wait.
It's going to be a fully guided meditation
for that part. What you said it's going to be what?
Fully guided. It's a fully guided multiverse meditation in the quantum field, fully guided. It's me live during the workshop, a fully guided multiverse meditation. And I did something very similar at Dame Dash Studios about 3 years ago in Burbank, California, live with 300 people in the audience. And when we came out of the meditation, people were running around the place, running around the studio, going crazy. Oh my God, I just came out of the sun. Oh my God.
They was literally running around, Billy. Like they was literally doing that, or you exaggerating?
After I got done, after we ended the meditation, people were blown away. That's where I first met 19 Keys. 19 Keys was a student.
With
he came
Blue Pill. He with Blue Pill. He came to
Blue Pill. Exactly. That's where I first met 19 Keys. He wasn't really, he was just beginning. He was, the guy went out there. I give my hat off to him. He went out there to go get the knowledge.
Yeah.
And, he spurred off after that Egyptian Mystery School, which is what I was hosting. It was a huge event, a live event, but he was there. And this meditation, I'm telling you how it's incredibly powerful. Incredibly powerful. See, everything in the universe, if you go to, again, quantum mechanics and quantum physics, you have to understand that everything exists in superpositions.
What does that mean?
Superpositions. That means that unlimited outcomes exist all simultaneously.
Okay.
Right? And so we know this because of wave-particle duality. We know this through the double slit experiment. This has been proven, redone science, peer-reviewed science these experiments have been redone over and over and over again all over the world. So it's nothing, what I'm telling you right now isn't some off-the-dome psychobabble that I'm trying to sell you guys a ticket. This is peer-reviewed, real science taught in universities. And so we know this is an actual fact that everything exists as a superposition, a future of quantum potentials that we collapse into our reality tunnel through conscious observation. So it's all about understanding the quantum realm. And if you study or just look up quantum walkers, I have a movie coming out called Quantum Walkers. But if you look up the quantum physical term, quantum walkers, you'll find that even your conscious thoughts phase in and out of this dimension and go to higher dimensions and even into the multiverse and then come back. Real science, not fabricated science. It's how do you harness that? How do you tap into that? It was a two-part thing that we're going to focus on to get you into that state of mind. We're going to first go into the hemisync frequencies, and we're going to synchronize the hemispheres of the brain, the left and right hemisphere, and we're going to focus a beam of energy and create a portal, and we're going to go into the multiverse meditation. This is stuff that you can't get on YouTube. You can't get this on ChatGPT. You can't get this on. You can't get it on Twitter and all. You got to come to this workshop because you're not going to get this anywhere else.
Billy, I have to ask you this. Give us a second, Doug. I got to ask you this. Now, you're teaching. Now, this is, like I said, this is one of the most advanced forms of meditations that I've heard about on the internet. And you're teaching it in this workshop, this multiverse, meeting your doppelganger. I want to ask you, Billy, so you have met your doppelganger during meditation who has had what you're like, how does that work? You got to explain this. Give me.
And this is why I'm making that movie.
That's why
that whole experience inspired me to the movie, to make this movie. So the meditation that I was doing was this multiverse meditation where I literally ended up, I phase shifted into that reality. It was the same Earth, right? In the same solar system. And literally, the difference between technology was mind-blowing. The Earth that I was on then transformed into as if it took Nikola Tesla's timeline and information and knowledge.
Instead of Einstein's timeline?
Right.
Oh, shit.
So this timeline that I was on was so advanced. It was far, far advanced. Same exact planet, same year. And what happened was I was there working on this amazing technology with a JED pillar and an Ankh and putting them together to create a key to a Stargate. So I gained some incredible knowledge and wisdom there. And that experience inspired me literally to get more into this type of meditation and to teach it now. So this is my first time actually teaching it to this highest level. We didn't have enough time We only had 30 minutes out of the 6 hours at the Dame Dash Studios, and that was mind-blowing itself. But to get to this one, the one we're going to do in this workshop, you're going to see comments that are going to blow you away. You're going to see results that people are going to have coming back 1 week, 1 month, 2 days, a year from now. They're going to have so many results coming back from this. It's going to be a life-changing event, okay? A life-changing event. It's a LCE is what I call it. And so these are big events because these are markers in the ether of time space where you can look back and you can say, wow, at this particular point is when everything shifted, where the fork in the road came from me and my spirit went this way instead of that way and led me to the heaven on earth that I've been seeking and looking for. And I'm telling you, and Rich, you can attest to this. I literally walk with power and I feel that everything I touch turns to gold, literally. But see, I expect it to become gold before I touch it because I see it before I even see it. I believe in the end before the end, and I believe in the beginning before the beginning even happens.
Yes.
But that's a mindset. It takes training and understanding and knowledge and wisdom and confidence to walk like that. When I walk into a room, I expect everyone to take notice that I'm in this room and to feel my energy. And if they're feeling down, low, frustrated, sad, or even angry, I expect my energy field to lift them up and take them up. I expect my conscious thoughts to even alter their thought patterns because you can actually hack into somebody else's mind through conscious thought. One more thing before we go to Dr. B. Real science experiment. They took 2 people and put 2 different rooms in one laboratory. One guy was blindfolded. He's got the remote control to the video game. The other guy's looking at the video game with no remote control. Scientists were able to make a conscious hack link between the minds, and the guy looking at the screen with no remote was able to control the hands of the guy with the remote and play the video game. You see? So what I'm teaching you guys isn't science fiction. It's science reality and science fact.
Billy, wow. Let me let Dr. B chime in because I don't know. Wow.
When I was 14 years old, I used to go to a park where there were drummers, 50, 60, 70 drummers on the weekend. All playing different, wanted to play different percussion instruments, some were learning. And there was a man who came from the continent who spoke very little English. He could take one drum, right, that he made himself and get 142 sounds. So the average drum, you can get 5, 6, 7 sounds. He could get 142 sounds. And he was the master. And every weekend we'd learn these rhythms. He'd come around and tell each person exactly what to play. Now, this is 14 years old. And you had to stay at this rhythm till you got into this special place within yourself, outside of yourself. And you had to be able to observe yourself in the circle, but outside of the circle. The rhythms would take us into a trance state where you couldn't even hear the drums around you anymore. You just hear this droning sound. And I remember this one particular day where this family brought this lady who had cancer. And they said she had a very short time to live. She was very small, very thin. And they laid her on the ground on a sheet. And the chief said, we're going to play for her to live. Right now, of course, now the lady, she's on the way out. I mean, you could tell. So we all began to play, and he gave us all these specific rhythms to play. And I remember the rhythm that I had to play. Goong, ging, ging, goong, goong. Goong, ging, ging, goong, goong. Goong, ging, ging, goong, goong. You can't change anything. You got to stay right there. You got to get out of your own head because your own mind will take you into this drifty place, and you won't stay on that rhythm to create this vibration. After playing for about an hour, and you're supposed to play with your eyes closed. Now, me, I'm always got to keep an eye open. I want to see what's going on. I opened my eyes, and the lady, she'd have this cloth over her. She's levitating. She levitates about a foot off the ground in the park on a Saturday afternoon. 120 drummers were out. Blew my mind.
Wow.
When she levitated off the ground, she was shaking. I stopped playing, and then the master looks at you. You're not supposed to stop. And I asked him, can I bow out? And I run off crying. I grab my drum. I'm 14. I don't want to play no more. I don't want to do this because, see, I come from the church world. And this has got to be voodoo. This has got to be the devil. This has got to be bad. 2 weeks later, it's on the news that a lady who was dying from cancer They had a picture on the news that she had a spontaneous healing and no longer had cancer. You see, we know so little about what can happen. Our egos are pumped up with all this stuff, but we are a lot of times the saboteur in our own corporation. Your body is a corporation. You're supposed to be the CEO. You're supposed to be able to see things before they happen. You're supposed to be able to create in your mindset. You got to see things, right? You have to be a precog. You have to do precognition. You got to know before it happens that it's going to happen just the way it's going to happen. It's your job as the CEO to do that. But what happens is when you go through certain types of trauma and drama or testing, right? The security guard, right, that you hired to help, to keep guard over the corporation takes over. Once the security guard takes over, you become insecure because you're always worried about a problem is going to happen. It's going to, oh my God, if there's this type of a healing, it's got to be the devil. It's got to be evil. The person was all of a sudden no longer had this disease. It's got to be the devil because, man can't do that. Woman can't do that. We don't have that power, but we are the power. The God power is in us. Once we realize that there's another person that you need in your corporation to keep it balanced, it's the manager. The manager's job is to look for opportunity. If the manager is totally looking for opportunity, they're not looking for problems. A good manager is looking for opportunities. The security guard's job is to look for that. But the security guard has become insecure. It can't see the cure anymore. Because you're worried about a problem. Something's going to happen because it happened before. It's happened before. It's going to keep on happening because somebody told you that history repeats itself. History has never repeated itself. Somebody told you that your genes are running the show. Your genes are not telling your body what to do. That is you. Maybe 1%, the number starts getting smaller, of your genes are actually, right, running what you call the show. Your hair, your talk, maybe the way you look. There's 99% of your DNA is a wide open palette. You get to be the artist, but you've got to look at managing it. You've got to look for opportunities and get out of your head. Now that saboteur is going to keep stopping you. The saboteur told me to get up off those drums and leave. And I left. And I saw the master drummer about 2 months later. And he told me he understood why he left. And he spoke very broken English. He says, you are not a normal human being. And you're never going to be. And there's something big you're going to do. And I'm going to teach you this one thing. And you are to never teach it to anyone for at least 50 years. And he sat on the curb next to my little Volkswagen, right? I was driving before I was old enough. But he sat there and he played this rhythm on the rim of the hood of my car. And he said, this was a magic rhythm. It opens up vortexes to other spaces. When you play it, you're not going to be you anymore. You're going to be taken out into the universe. And it's going to change anything that can hear it. Anytime you play this to create destiny. Never teach it or play it for 50 years to anyone. Just use it. Use it to get where you've got to get so you can help the people. Guess what? I now am able to play the rhythm. I'm now able to teach it. I'm going to teach it in the Godpower event.
You going to teach it?
I'm going to teach it.
You ain't tell me that.
That's a lot of things I didn't
tell you. You ain't tell me that.
That's a lot.
Why you ain't tell me that, man?
I can't tell you. I can't tell you.
Come on, you have to tell Brother Rich. Why you ain't?
Because it's all coming to me. It's happening now. What's happening now? What's happening now has never happened before.
Shit.
What's happening now has never happened.
You added that.
And when you play this, there's a special thing that you do.
Yes.
You see, there's a whole thing, man, sitting around the campfire. You remember sitting around the campfire?
Yeah.
You know, that's some deep stuff. Do you know what's happening when you're sitting down looking at a campfire, listening to that crackling? Your telomeres, your DNA is being reprogrammed when you're looking down at fire.
And it's crackling.
It takes you. You could sit there all night and watch it, even when it's just a few embers. What you're being taken out of all your stuff into another realm. There's these realms, there's these beings, there's the fire beings, there's so many different things that are going on that we have an issue perceiving until we get into a trance state. Yeah. When you get in a certain trance state, it opens up.
Yes.
So some of the things we're going to talk about and do, we can't tell you. I mean, we sat and talked, and we got a list of things we're going to go over. It's getting deeper than that because it got deeper in the last 2 weeks and the last 3 weeks.
It keeps getting
everything
deeper,
is changing at this particular time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going down to hang out with Billy at this awards thing. I don't go to awards. You know how many times I've been nominated for Grammys and all these? I don't go. Why? Because there was a program in my head said, you don't win because you ain't winning the way your father said to win. It all has been coming to me that now we all have to win, but we got to figure out what winning means.
Yes.
Winning may not mean the same as to everybody else.
Yes.
So I'm breaking through a personal paradigm that I've always had. But Dr. B, you should be such and such by now. And you could have been you could have had 5 record companies and you could have, they always talk about what you could have did. But there was a suppression, there was a rhythm. There was something inside of me that I couldn't share to a certain time because see, I've taken oaths in many tribes. One of the tribes that I'm a part of, the Yamasee tribe, which is my family, there's oaths that you take as the medicine man. You can't just be out teaching this stuff. Now everybody's out teaching everything on the internet. And it's all on YouTube. And this is the sacred knowledge. I can tell you it ain't the sacred knowledge. If you on YouTube talking about it, you can't do it because it'll shut you down. Like when I look in Billy's eyes, when Billy and I are talking, there is a language happening that is not spoken. We don't really talk all that much. In fact, it's almost like we can't talk too much. It's almost like something's happening. It's because we're connected in this way that, it's not spoken. There's no words for it. We just conduct ourselves and do what we need to do. And we got each other's backs no matter what. When I'm dealing with you, Brother Rich, there's a rhythm. There's a thing that's happening all the time. In fact, when you were on my show, right? We didn't talk about that. But, when you went into that whole zone about music and vibration, music is what holds this whole thing out together. And what's being sucked out of the world is music. They're sucking the art out of people. They're sucking the creative. You don't have handwriting anymore? People don't even know how to handwrite. Cursive.
They don't even have cursive.
Do you know how important that is? That is like kinesthetic, auditory, and visual. Yes. You want to really, really get something deep, you make it kinesthetic, auditory, and visual. Now they just got you pushing buttons that really don't mean nothing. The thing here is we're creating melody, we're creating rhythm, and there's things that have never been talked about that are going to be talked about, that are going to be shared. And the rhythm of life is coming through all of us right now. So what's happening has never happened before. And I'm really glad to be here. I'm glad to know both of you and to be a part of this because now it's time to totally express. 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 Do the thing. Do your very best and do it now.
All right. So moving on, Billy, I want to ask you this. This question is specifically for Billy Carson. Aspect of the workshop that you're going to be dealing with is how to read energy fields. And what makes that so important, and I'm so happy you're talking about that, Billy, is that every organism on Earth knows how to read an energy field in order for it to survive. That's how it survives. It reads the energy field. It understands what's going on around it, and then it decides how it's going to survive. Humans, man, because of whatever intellect and free will, man, listen, a hurricane's coming, danger's coming. We still there. We getting high. We watch a TV. We all fucked up. We just in complete darkness about any danger around us. And it's not just that. It could be danger in terms of bad business deals. It could be danger in terms of bad relationships. It could be danger in terms of bad things with our family. We don't know how to read the energy field, and that harms a lot of us, whether we want to admit it or not. So I'm glad you're talking about this in the workshop, Billy. But what I want to ask you is that, how do you know? I'm Brother Rich. I'm pretty sharp. I'm good with the information. I still got my weaknesses and my biases. And one of the things that I noticed in 2022 was an absolutely magnificent year for me. Absolutely magnificent. In the very beginning of 2022, a white female, she looked like Kim Kardashian. I said this story a lot of times, so a lot of the people on my channel heard the story. White looking female or European looking female. I was at the New Life Expo in New York. She told me some information about what I needed to do for 2022. And I disregarded her. The first thing I thought about was Kim K. And I'm like, she had that gypsy look to her. she had a gypsy look, so I disregarded her. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm good. She's psychic. I'm like, man, bitch, you ain't psychic. Get the fuck out of my face. That's what I'm saying to her. I'm like, man, you ain't psychic. Get the fuck out of my face. You ain't psychic. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying in my mind. But her words turned out to be right and exact that whole year. And it taught me a lesson. It taught me a valuable lesson about reading energy and just about discriminating and just about race and all types of stuff it taught me about. So what I want to ask you is, Billy, how do you distinguish bad vibes? Because we say we're spiritual, we know how to read vibes. How do we, since you're talking about this, how do we distinguish bad vibes from just being discriminate against somebody, or being racist, or being prejudiced against somebody? Because we think, oh, yeah, I'm spiritual. That person is giving me bad vibes. But maybe it's just you. Maybe that person isn't giving you bad vibes. Maybe it's your vibes that you're feeling. Maybe it's not that person. So talk to me about how do we decide between those two, Billy? I love that part of this workshop. Yeah.
Sometimes, what we see in someone else is just a reflection of ourselves, number one. So a lot of the times what we're seeing in someone, or what we're getting frustrated or angry about or hating about them or whatever, is actually just a reflection of ourselves. Like the ancient Mayans used to say, in lakek alakin, I am another you. That's what that means. And so we're seeing reflections of ourselves in everyone because we are everyone.
Yes.
And everyone is us.
Yes.
And so we have to remember that, always remember that. And when you open up your mind to understand that your main purpose is to learn from everyone in every circumstance.
Yes.
And when someone walks up to you, the first thing that wants to happen is our own internal system wants to kick in and begin to judge. That's the first thing that happens. We're gonna judge a book by its cover. That's what your thoughts want to do. That's the default programming code, is to judge a book by its cover.
Okay.
That's when I said before, how do you separate your thoughts from yourself? How do you separate from your thoughts and become the observer of them, and then recognize what you're about to do before you actually do it?
Right.
A genius solves problems before they happen. Before they happen.
Okay. Before they happen.
So you have to begin now to solve things in your life. Now, once you've separated yourself, now open yourself up to listen to the information, or begin to look at people's body language, begin to understand the eye contact, begin to understand how they're speaking, what tone, how high, how low, how energetic, how non-energetic. And then you could begin to open up your heart chakra to tap into their heart chakra energy field. We know scientifically that every single person has a field that generates between out 8 to 10 feet, sometimes as much as 25, 30 feet away from the body.
Yes.
It's an electromagnetic biofield. And it actually carries hormones out of your body, like cortisol, oxytocin, progesterone, all these different hormones ride up on that magnetic field and out into the torus energy field around your own body. What's interesting is when you get close enough to someone else's field, their hormones, this is the biggest part about understanding fields. Their hormones are now intersecting with your magnetic field, riding down that field directly back into your body and affecting the hormone balance in your own body.
Yes, sir. Okay.
So why can't we read energetic fields from people? It's simply because of this. We have been disconnected from recognizing the changes in our hormone balances on a real-time basis. That's what it is. It's not magic. If somebody was looking for a magical, understanding or example, it's all about understanding the balance of the hormones in your body. I'm going to go deep into the hormone balance and imbalance and what they do, and how to tell when you're imbalanced, and how to feel that imbalance, how to sense that imbalance, how to sense when someone else has hormones like cortisol, that just because you're in their presence is spiking your cortisol, creating a level of anxiety and anxiousness and putting you into fight or flight mode.
And
that's what it's going to be about. This is some deep stuff. Like I said, you can't find this stuff on YouTube.
So from their cortisol to your cortisol, Like,
yes. Damn. Yes. And let me tell you something. What I'm talking about now, if you take the same class that anybody can go take these same classes that I took at MIT for applied neuroscience, they're going to teach you some of these same exact things right there at the school. So what I'm teaching you is not fabricated off the top of my dome and all this other kind of stuff. You can go register for the classes I took and pay the fee and go sit in the class. And guess what? You're going to see all these science experiments. You're going to get the same information. But you got to pay thousands of dollars for that. This class don't cost thousands of dollars.
Wow.
It's going to be powerful, man. I can't wait. This is going to be one of the most amazing, dynamic workshops that I've ever been a part of. I'm really excited for this because so much of this has been untaught and untold, and a lot of it has been secreted and kept and hidden away by myself and also Dr. B, because we've been waiting for the right time.
Right.
See, if when you read the Emerald Tablets, right? Thoth says the highest knowledge is unutterable. The highest knowledge is unutterable. And he even himself had secreted away knowledge, hidden chambers in the Great Pyramid, which were just discovered about 4 years ago above the Grand Gallery leading to the King's Chamber. Hidden chambers underneath the Sphinx with more knowledge in it. Another hidden record is hidden at the Temple of Hermes in Egypt. Why? Because the knowledge, there's a time. These are time capsules. We're giving you a time capsule of knowledge. Knowledge that is ancient and has been waiting around for eons for mankind to be able to even digest it and discern it and then act on it. Getting knowledge means absolutely nothing. I could have taught this stuff 10 years ago when people were afraid to say the word UFO in public. What would have been the outcome? The outcome would have been a waste. They would have heard me and taken it into their mind. But guess what? Just having the knowledge means nothing. You have to know how to apply knowledge. Once you learn how to apply knowledge, then you have power. Because knowledge, like I say all the time, knowledge is not power. Only the application of knowledge is actually power.
Right.
But people can only begin to apply knowledge when they're ready to receive it and act on it. We're in a time and an era right now. We've reached a pinnacle right now, heading into this age of Aquarius, where people's minds are opening up like never before. And the people are ready to receive the knowledge, but they're also more than ever ready to act on it. People have been receiving knowledge for eons and eons and eons, but very few people have been able to act on it or had the will to act on it. Finally, we're at a place right now in this short breath of humanity that people are ready to act on the knowledge. And that's what we're going to be doing. Actionable steps, things that you can interactively do, learning how to apply the knowledge into your life, but stuff that has been secreted and kept away by myself and Dr. B for a very, very long time. Before I end this, let me just tell you this quick thing. Years ago,
take your time.
Years and years ago, long before the internet existed, I used to go to the bookstore literally probably 3 times a week. I used to live in the bookstore or the library. And I had read this Hopi prophecy.
Yes.
And this Hopi prophecy was that one day the world will be connected by a world wide web and that information will travel to and fro instantaneously. And when I read that, I literally jumped for joy in the bookstore. People were looking at me like I was crazy. But why was I doing that? Because I knew if I can stay alive until that day that web arrives, that what I have in here is going to spread around this entire planet. And that day came in 1997. I saw a commercial on TV. All it said was IBM.com, a fully black background with white letters. I said, that's the commercial? What is that? I went to the bookstore. I said, hey, have you heard of this .com? This IBM commercial keeps coming on. That's all it says, IBM.com, and it disappears. Oh, they're talking about the World Wide Web. I said, what? Where are the books? She sent me to the book section, HTML. I learned HTML, PHP, ASP, Java, and C+, all by reading at the bookstore, studying at the bookstore, and duplicating it at my house on my computer. Started my very first company, .com marketing group. with internet marketing and built that into a multi-million-dollar corporation. But the point is, I knew, this is 1997, that I knew when I heard that, now is the time. I began building this whole thing from back then, and then dripping slow amounts, just drip, drip, drip of knowledge along the way, building up to this point. And there's so much more. I've only given out less than 1% of the information that I have in my head. Less than 1/10% has been given out. There's so much more. But we've gotten to the point now where there is something that can be released. Just like there were 2 tablets in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth that were held back for almost 200 years and were just recently released to the general public. But you can only get information in divine time. Everything only happens in divine time. And right now it's the divine time for me to release some of this information that I've been holding back, that I've been sitting on, because quite frankly, the people weren't ready. I would do tests. I would do social tests, social experiments on social media, and I would drop certain things that kind of pertain to things we may be talking about years ago, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Yes.
The people weren't ready. Completely over their head. Weren't ready. So this is the time.
What I want to ask you right now, Billy Carson, Dr. B. Sirius, 2 of the best speakers in this arena that we're talking, in this subject that we're talking about right now. We talk often about appreciation. We talk about gratitude and how important it is, and how important it is to tap into that frequency. I like to use real life examples and current examples with these teachings so people can fully understand it, and so that the teachers can fully understand what they're teaching to the people. So we're teaching about gratitude and appreciation. Let me talk to you about this, Billy and Dr. B. If, you know, I get theatrical and all that. Brother Rich likes to get theatrical. If, Billy Carson, if you have, if your son or your daughter, every time, or let's say your wife or whoever a loved one, every time you do something for them, Billy, thank you for bringing me a blanket. Hey, Billy, thank you for bringing me a cup of water. Oh, Billy, thank you for coming today to pick me up. Hey, Billy, thank you for this. Hey, Billy, you may say, hey, you ain't got to thank me for that. It's all right, man. I'm supposed to do this. You may say, listen, man, I'm your father. I'm supposed to do. Don't worry about it. You ain't got to, because they may say, if they're really thankful, they may say, hey, Billy, thank you for bringing me a plate of food. And you be like, nigga, I'm supposed to bring you a plate of food. I'm your dad. Nigga, you ain't supposed to, like, goddamn. Thank you, because it may seem like they're begging. Thank you for bringing me a plate of food. So the point of me saying that is that if you feel that way, if your children continuously thank you over and over again, they teach us to be thankful and appreciative. How does God feel when we be grateful and appreciative for every single thing? Because they say we're supposed to be grateful for every single thing. And we're grateful for every single thing. It almost seems like that's supposed to happen. And God is like, I'm supposed to do that. So it almost feels unnatural. So it almost, a person feels like, I can't tap into that vibration of gratitude. I can't tap into that vibration of appreciation because that shit feels weird. To a lot of people, it feels weird to be thankful about every single thing because it's like, I'm supposed to do that. So why am I supposed to be thankful about every single fucking thing? What do you have to say about the people that feel like that?
Well, Dr. B, go first on this one.
Dr. B rubbing his head. He like,
this is where the magic happens. Okay,
go ahead, Dr. B.
Let me take my herbs.
Oh,
take a little focus.
Come on, Dr. B. Come on.
1996, September.
Come on.
Carnival cruise.
Yes, sir.
We end up in the Bermuda Triangle, my whole family.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm on the bow of the boat all night. having a shift. In fact, I've just found the watch that was froze, and I'm talking about it in my book, What Happened to Me in the Bermuda Triangle.
Yes.
And it ain't like television. It ain't like that. This is a whole nother thing. And I had 4.5 hours, 5 hours of missing time. And I remember when I came to, and I didn't know what happened. But one of the first things that I said after I looked down in the water and I saw thousands of dolphins, excuse me, thousands of dolphins going around the boat. And I just started saying, thank you. Thank you. Because when you say thank you, it sends out this energy. First of all, anything with TH in it, THE, THA, that has to do with theology, theos. That has to do with like God energy. That TH, especially when you put an E or A on it. So when you're saying thankful, you're full of godness. Everything that happens is happening for a reason. And we sometimes forget that this life is it's like an obstacle course that we chose to be in. Some people say, well, Dr. B, I'd never choose this life. Why wouldn't you? If you had everything, right? What do you want? Something you didn't have. So sometimes you need to go down and ride that roller coaster and be scared to death. Sometimes they're putting that pressure and that stress is what causes your telomeres and your genes to begin to rewire themselves. Without that pressure, without that stress, without the drama, without the trauma that we've been through, we may never become who we're going to become because it takes that. And see, we forgot that. We got to this place where we're like, oh my God, look what happened to me. Look what they did. And we want to blame everybody. We want to blame. As long as you blame it, then you can't take it into yourself and realize that you are the creator of everything. It's all coming from you, through you, for you, by you, with you. Long as you realize that you're the captain. But to do that, you got to get in a whole brain state. One of the things that we're going to teach in the class is how to get in a whole brain state. A whole brain state is when your conscious mind and your subconscious mind are working together. They're synced up for one goal, because your subconscious a lot of times is focused on what had happened, the experiences of the past, all those things. It's all written in there. It's like a huge library without any emotion. The conscious mind has ideas and goals, and it has will, but it's tied to the subconscious, right? And all this stuff pops up to test us. When you get in a whole brain state, now you can create a goal based on balance. So now you're saying, I am grateful for the $1 million or the $1 billion. I'm grateful for the wonderful relationship. I'm grateful for all the things that you desire. You're grateful for healing and wholeness. Now, you may not feel like you're there right now, but that's an illusion, because like Billy said, you got to become the observer. Once you can really truly observe yourself from the outside, and now you can appoint yourself. There's a thing called, we're going to teach this also, this black flame meditation. We're going to teach this in class, the black flame meditation, where you appoint, right, the person within you to go get what it is you desire. It will do it. Once you learn how to do this and you learn this focus and you learn how to not blink, that's a whole nother piece. Because when you blink, you keep changing the channels. So we keep blinking. That's what we know. We're scrolling through the internet. We're blinking. And we're getting all this mass distraction. When you got to be focused on what you are, you got to mind your business and business your mind. And to do that, you've got to set yourself right. This thing where you are only on this one thing. And this one thing I can say about Google, it's good and it's not so good. Some folks can't live without Google. Well, Google says, and Wikipedia says, and they can't think. They were able to before we got these things, before these devices, because now you got this information that's being given to you that may not be totally factual. You got Chat BGT. Is that the name of it? It can be giving you some information. You feel like this is it. No information is it. I was talking to the scientists when I was teaching at UCLA, and none of them knew exactly what fire really was. They didn't really know what electricity was. They didn't understand the gravitational thing. They all had theories and theorems, but we use these things, but we don't totally understand. And the best thing is to exostand. When you're exostanding, you're standing outside of yourself and you're observing what's going on, and you're putting yourself in the place to be. You are there now. Godpower 2, I'm there now. I'm actually at Godpower 3. because I already know that at least what I'm going to cover and what I've heard Billy's going to cover, it's going to have to be another one, because this information is expanding, because this is the first time we're able to give it this way. This is the first time people are going to be able to hear it this way. So you couldn't get this before. And there's information coming about that never came about before, because the earth is saying it's time to expand. You see, we're going to be using pranic energy. When you get into the pranic energy and what they call the vital force fields within yourself, and you're able to become you become the torus. You become the toroidal transformer. In music, we use this thing called the toroidal transformer to really make music loud. It's like a donut with wire wrapped around it. It creates a torus, which is basically like the flower of life or the star tetrahedron. That's that Tetris. You see, we start talking about the way energy moves. You got to create that vortex. When you create that vortex, you can't blink, but we're taught to blink. See, a lot of times, we blink because we almost can't handle it. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
We blink a lot of times. Yeah. Oh my God, what was that? Why did that happen? What just happened? And we become scared of stuff. Fear comes in. Oh God, something really happened. I saw something. I saw light. I have seen some things. I have been to these other realms. I don't just talk about it. When I talk about something, I've been there. It's real. It's actual. And it's worlds upon worlds around worlds. If you knew what was on your finger, if you knew about the world that existed on your finger, that's why I say we have to stop saying I so much and me so much and get into we, because we are we're galaxies upon galaxies, and we're very old and we're very young. And what's happening is we're challenging ourselves to grow, just like that lobster. It's got to go down under the water after a while. The shell gets too tight. It splits that shell open, right? And it crawls out. It's got to make a new shell. You see, but you got to feel pain and pressure to do that. Mm-hmm. Right now is the time to open up the blueprint and learn these particular pieces that can take us and use our vital force energy to create the whole brain state. Once we're creating the whole brain state, we realize that everything is happening within us. We are the weather. We are the news. We're the good, the bad. We're all of it. Once you accept it, then you can begin to say, I am the captain of the ship. And even though we're going through the weather right now, we have a goal, and we are goal-minded.
Right. But Dr. B, before I continue with the next question, one of the things you're going to talk about in the workshop is neuro-linguistic programming. And I think that's so important, but I don't think the people even, this is some advanced stuff. I don't think the people even know what that means. So could you talk up a little bit about you dealing with neuro-linguistic programming in the workshop, my brother?
Well, I took a course called psychological kinesiology years ago.
Yes. And
that led into NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, where they have looked at people's facial expressions, tones, and things, the body language, micro movements of the face and the body. And they said that when people are happy, they act like this. And when they do this, they act like that. And this must be what's on their mind. But there was a piece missing. They didn't take into consideration. And this is even with the course I took, the subconscious alignment course. It only worked with people of a certain complexion. This is deep. I was an advanced, what they call facilitator for subconscious alignment. But it only worked with certain people. People who had a certain color skin, a darker skin, it didn't work for them. They'd be looking at me like, well, Dr. B, man, I need my money back, man. Nothing has happened. I have no shit. I've been sitting here with you for 3 hours, man, waiting for a shift. And all I am is hungry now. I want a grapefruit and a cigarette.
I'm hungry.
I want a grapefruit and a cigarette. I eat one every morning. I didn't have it because I come here with you and nothing has gone on. And I went back to my teacher. I said, look, this thing seems to only work with the Caucasian folks. They're leaving happy, giving me black credit cards and carte blanche. What? And she said, well, that's impossible. I said, well, wait a minute. Where did you get this information? She pulls down this map and shows me all these hieroglyphs. She said the positions and all these things that we do, there's these positions, you'll see when you see the show that we have coming out, Ask Dr. B. I talk a lot of, this class is about subconscious alignment.
Yes.
There's positions that you are in, right? And which makes sacred geometry, which changes you in the way you think. Mm-hmm. I said, you got this from, where'd you get this from?
Yes.
Well, the oldest thing in the world, Egypt. I said, uh-oh, we got a problem. Where'd y'all get that from? But there are things that are older than that have no age. You took a piece because of your culture and you wanting to just get to the money or whatever it is, or get to the commerce, and you stopped. But what I realized, that when I took the balances, that's what they call them, and flipped them backwards. Like instead of what they have this thing called a vac to the future of you make a visual auditory kinesthetic picture of what you desire. Didn't work for me. What do you mean a visual auditory kinesthetic picture? I had to flip it. Kinesthetic auditory visual picture. You got to feel it first, because when you feel it, and I know Billy gets into this, the heart, it becomes like a super magnet. It begins to, your real heart, not that emotional heart that you got in your head that you got to think about what you feel. You know what I'm saying? That's your mind thinking. But your heart becomes a magnet. And when you understand heart math and how your heart puts out these toroidal vibrations, right, that are huge, it attracts. It's like gravity. So when you put kinesthetic first, this is a small piece, kinesthetic auditory visual, feel it first. We're always talking about, we need to see it. See the pink flame. I used to be at these meetings. See the pink flame. When you see the pink flame, imagine it's around you. And imagine there is a beautiful crystal in the water. I'm sitting here. I don't know about this, man. I don't feel it. Because it didn't feel right. Everybody's all having a thing, and then they're all crying and everything. I'm like, man, I got to get out of here, man. Go home and have a grapefruit. So I'm going to say it really quickly here. I realized that neuro-linguistic programming was not just because they did this with computer models. They created with computer models. Well, guess what? In between the ones and the zeros, there's this area that they don't know about. It's analog.
Yes.
In between the ones and the zeros, there's no empty space. There is no such thing.
What's in between? What's in between?
So, really quickly.
Talk to me.
The thing that they were missing was the language. And how we all speak a very special language. So in order to get you to that next mode, you're going to have to learn this language. So when I say neuro-linguistic programming or processing or reprogramming, you're going to learn how to ask for certain things or create certain things with a language, that you can feel. And that feeling creates that vibration in the heart. And that attracts you to whatever that you desire automatically.
This is awesome. This is awesome.
Powerful stuff, man.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Let me ask y'all. Well, first of all, let me say this. We got about 15 more minutes left. We're about to round it up, about to end it. We've been. Wow, what a show! Like I said, we've been. I told y'all this is going to be an epic show. We've been on here for over 2 hours. I want to ask y'all with the next. Well, first of all, I want to tell the people the workshop Blueprint for Godpower Part 2 is coming in October. It's a virtual workshop. Anybody in the world can attend. Anybody in the world with an internet connection can attend. All you have to do is click on the link in the description or at the top of this chat to join. Once you join that workshop, we have bonus content for you. Part of the bonus content is something exclusive that has never been seen or has never been done before on planet Earth. It's called the 7 Sacred Prayers, and it's 7 of the masters of planet Earth right now in this present time-space continuum. They have made prayers, and they are reciting them, and it's going to be extremely helpful to your everyday life. I mean, it's extremely inspirational. So I'll talk more about that on another show. I already talked about that. But it's amazing what we're offering with this workshop. So with that being said, to continue to round up the end of this workshop, got a couple of more questions for you, gentlemen. If we live in a free will universe, and if humanity decides to, if everything is the mind, we all talk about the mind. Tahuti, these deities talk about the mind. if we live in a free will universe and the humanity decides that as part of the collective conscience agreement, we're not going to experience the Kali Yuga, the cycles of time anymore, will we stop experiencing what we're experiencing now? Because this shit is a motherfucker. Because we got to wait to the golden age, then the silver age, then it's the bronze age, then it's the age where everybody kills, murders, and rapes each other. And it's like absolutely horrible. And we got to work our way up to that golden age again where things get better. But then after things get better, we're like, oh shit, things are going to get real messed up in 1,000, 2,000 years. So I'm going to prepare my great grandchildren because things is going to get bad. And then you got to, it's you know what it is. You know what I'm saying?
I already know.
Yeah. So
I know exactly where you're going with this.
Can we eliminate these dark ages collectively in humanity if we want to, according to the free will theory?
This is a great question, something that I've talked about before. You know, I've read now, just in the last 20 years, over 1,000 books, scriptures, papyruses, cuneiform tablets, cylinder scrolls, ancient texts from all around the world. I've met with sages, bushmen, right? Wisdom keepers, homegrown guides, homegrown archaeologists, all around this planet. Just in the last 2 years, I've been to over 20 countries and over 259 cities and spent 6 months in hotels last year and the year before, 5.5 months in hotels. And the reason why I'm saying is I've been out there in the field. I've been out there. And, you know, it's really interesting that when you go out there and you start to continue to talk and search for this knowledge, you begin to hear the stories that have been handed down for thousands and thousands of years, stories that I've read now for over 2 decades, that there's this rise and fall of civilizations. However, even Thoth in the Emerald Tablets, he says, many of the worlds I've traveled, many of the races of men on their worlds, seeking the heights and plumbing to the depths, moving at times in realms of brightness, gaining the heights and falling to the depths. He says that he has watched countless civilizations rise and fall. Nowhere does he have written, nowhere do any of these ancient sages and wisdom keepers have written, nowhere in any text that I have ever read anywhere has ever said that we have to fall. Thoth says, keep seeking the light, because light is thine heritage, old man. Light is thine birthright.
Right. Okay.
So the answer to this is,
yes,
we in this particular rise to the height of this new Kali Yuga, coming out of the Tetra Yuga into the Silver Age, heading back towards the Golden Age. We, this civilization, have the power, the wisdom, the knowledge, and the know-how to create and build a Golden Age that can sustain itself and not fall again. Could this be? This is the great grand experiment. This is a universal.
Yes, Billy.
Experiment.
Yeah.
These cycles, this cyclical nature of civilizations. How many can stop this cycle? How many can get here and then go here? You see? Stop this cycle and go here.
Yeah, I like that.
This is one of those civilizations. And this is why we're doing what we're doing, to build a golden age that can sustain it.
That can sustain it.
Exactly.
Oh, man. Wow. What an answer, Billy. What an inspiring answer. That shit inspired me. Go ahead, Dr. B. I'm sorry. Whoa, that's great. Oh, I love it.
Greatest time to be alive.
Yes. Yeah.
See, we think in sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes, sir.
See, the 26,000 year calendar, right? Or the 24,000, it shifts. It seems like it's a circle or a spiral. It seems like that from our point of view. But guess what? It isn't. It only is because that's who is viewing it. So we keep talking about the bad, how bad it is, and how we need to protect ourselves, right? And there's no wolf out there. See, man created fear. The women weren't worried about that. They were making food, and they said there's no wolves coming into the village. And the men are like, no, the wolves are coming. We got to protect. We got to build a fence. There's a saber-toothed dog out there. It's going to eat everyone. See, man creates that drama. If you live in a place of love, now, I'm not saying things are not going to happen to challenge you, because it has to be challenged. There's going to be storms. Once you are able to elevate your mind to a place, once you're able to slip out, and if those of you who have done this know what I'm talking about, where you're out there, you're not in here. Now you do like Billy said, instead of going around, you're going straight across, or you're going straight in, or you're flipping the whole thing. Because what you call falling is maybe actually rising. Oh, you're on, if this is a ball, because they got an argument whether this is a flat earth. That's what the guy well, not to me. I want to talk about the flat earth.
The flat earth.
Flat earth, whatever.
Man,
even whether it's flat or not, you better go pay your gas bill.
What
difference does it make what you're on? But the bottom line here is, listen, you can create another reality. You can look, a child falls, and the mother sees the child is scraped. Yes. And one mother comes over, oh my God, the child, oh, he's gonna die, oh Lord, there's blood everywhere. That child takes a long time to heal and leaves a scar. Another mother comes over and says, oh baby, it's all right, it's just a little scratch. Let me put a little napkin on it. Go ahead, let me sing you a little song. Mama's little baby. And guess what? That baby's hand heals faster.
Dr. B, that's that shape-shifting matter.
Because we are shapeshifter. We are shapeshifters. We're alchemists.
Yes.
We're in transmutation mode. See, we forgot that we're right now in this place called calcination, which is in the beginning. And in the calcination period, right? That's when you're burning off all the stuff, all the dross, all the stuff that isn't the pure metal. Then we got to get to separation. See, we just now getting to the point where we can start separating things. So you got to separate yourself from yourself, with yourself, by yourself, for yourself. And until you do that, until you wake up and realize that you got to go back to sleep, to go inward and stop saying, I'm so woke, I'm so conscious. You're not. You're only saying that, and it sounds good, and it's commercial. You got to get silence. See, sometimes that person, I remember we used to go to the record deals. We used to go to like these conferences, and there would be a little guy sitting in the corner with raggedy shoes on, holes in his pants, looked like he was homeless. He owns the whole event. He wasn't talking. He didn't have all this fake stuff on. So you see what we're doing is we're getting into all this fake stuff so that moves you away from the real stuff, because nobody wants you to feel. Because if they can play with your feelings and tell you what to think and tell you how you should accept something, that person was bad. This is what they did. They play it in the news. They tell you this is the 6 o'clock news, and guess what? This just in. It just in. What just in? Some talk just came in that may not be based in fact, and then you judge because you're caught up in this thing and you're not ready to make that move. Instead of going around in a circle, in a sequential circle, you can jump, you can arc anything. That is the arc, the Noah's ark, knower. You got to know some of the things that I do, some of the things that you do, Brother Rich, some of the things that you do, Billy, you don't talk about. We can't talk about it.
Yes, sir.
If you saw what I saw last night, I'm telling you what I saw last night. If you would have saw what came through my room and had a whole conversation with me in my bed and told me don't move, to shut up. Oh, most people would freak out. I sat there and told him, thank you. Got up and ran the bathtub and filled it with fulvic acid. You understand what I'm saying? But what's fulvic acid? Don't worry about what that's what they told me to do. Go get some fulvic acid and take a bath. See, when you're being led by yourself, and when you meet this thing called the devil, the evil one, you realize that's me. Okay. That's me. It's all me. You walk in the movie, you go to the movie theater because they got a movie about you, right? So you go to the movie theater, you walk in, you get your popcorn, and you're watching the first few scenes. You say, wait a minute, this is not me. That's not how I act. And you're leaving the movie theater. This is from the book, The Fifth Agreement, by the way. You're leaving the movie theater, and there's one person in the movie theater, they're happy eating popcorn. And you look and say, that's my mother. She's happy. This is her movie of you. And you leave upset because it's not how I am. but that's how she sees you. So you go to the next movie theater and there's your father. And you say, that's not me, but that's what your father sees. See, you got to realize that what you think you're seeing and who you think you are and how you think you're showing up is not how you're actually showing up. Mm-hmm. Your ego is telling me, this is me. This is who I am. I'm the manager of the job. I'm the boss. I'm this, I'm that. And then all of a sudden you skin your knee and you're calling for mommy again. And mommy got to come nurture you. So Mama Earth comes to nurture you in ways that sometimes you don't like. Mm-hmm. You're going to spray some neosporin on the thing and it can't even heal now because now it's killing the friendly bacteria, right? Now your microbiome is off because the microbiome is connected to everything. That's your whole world. That's your universe. Ooh. That is billions and billions and billions of creatures that have been here forever and will be here forever, even when you're gone. They're creating you. And we ain't even going to talk about the mitochondria right now and what they got going on because everything they told you about the mitochondria is 1%.
Go ahead, Dr. B.
1%. You got to know when you meet certain people who's working in mitochondria. I haven't met a lot of people working in mitochondria. When I met Billy, that first time I met him, I said, "Oh, he's working his mitochondria. This ain't him." In fact, how is he in 4 places at one time? He's on 3 different platforms at one time. Yes, then I was at his house and watched him do this. He comes different characters. He's walking from one room to the next room. Okay, I got to do this. I got to see. The normal person couldn't do what he's doing. One minute I saw him, I said, "Oh yeah, Billy looks bad. He got to go to sleep. I need him to go because I'm herbalist and a health guy. He looks like he got to go to sleep." Then I look at him on the screen. His eyes ain't even red no more. How do he do that? Because he's working his mitochondria. Now, guess what? Everybody can do it. And we all have a different way of teaching it. I teach a certain way. Billy teaches a certain way. Brother Rich, you teach a certain way. So right now, we got to realize that we're all very unique artists. We're alchemists.
Yes, sir.
We are the quantum shape shifters. And we would like to teach everybody who is willing, ready, and able to do this to change. That's what's going to change the world. We ain't got to worry about which yuga we in, which universe we in, how bad it is, how good it is. We're just going to be. Now we can be, do, have. Is it be, do, have, or is it do, be, have? Be, do, have. But we're there. Congratulations. We have made it. Now let's use this thing.
I want to ask about, I got one more question, and then we could get out of here. Let me ask y'all this. Let me look at my notes. I have a notepad here. Let me ask you this, Billy and Dr. B. Let me ask you this, Billy and Dr. B. So I was reading Scientific American, and I'm reading Scientific American, and I'm looking at the definition of when a star is born. And they say a star is born, Dr. B laughing. They say a star is born when atoms of light elements are squeezed under enough pressure for their nuclei to undergo fusion. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm thinking about Tahuti, I'm thinking about Hermeticism, I'm thinking about as above, so below, and I'm thinking about, okay, so this is what happens when a star is born in the cosmos. So what happens when we hear the term down here, a star is born. Michael Jordan, a star is born. We always hear that term. So what happens, do you think, when a star is born in this realm? Because I read the definition of what a star is born in that realm. What do you think is happening inside the human body when a star is born in this realm for a person to become who they are that we all look up to in a certain fashion or way?
Well, if you look at fractals. On the mass scale, you just greatly described how a star is born, right?
Yeah.
And so we know that star is born, but we know because of fractals that the star also is going to die eventually.
Yes.
And so when that star uses up all of its nuclear fuel and then it runs out, it begins to burn heavier and heavier elements until it has a supernova, and then it finally sheds off all that excess mass.
Right.
That excess mass gets shed off. What happens to those heavier elements? They go on to create new solar systems, new stars, and even planets that have people on them. Mm-hmm. So we are already stars walking in the flesh.
Okay.
The heavy elements that make up this avatar body, this meat suit, all came from the interior of a nuclear furnace from the inside of a star billions of years ago. We are recycled stardust.
Okay.
Now, you take it now to the metaphor.
Yes,
what
sir.
happens when a person becomes a star.
Yes.
Well, how did the star become a star? When you talked about the formation of a star from the basic physics, standard physics, we're talking about those elements finding their passion. And when they coalesced enough in what they call an accretion disk to find their passion and live in that passion, they ignite it. Well, when a person on this planet finds their passion, that becomes a perfectionist at their passion, that lives in their passion, and that finds a need for their passion in the world and provides it as a service, they then become a star in the flesh.
Talk, Billy. Yeah, I like that. I like that talk.
Yeah,
I
man.
like that.
And that's what the star is. When a person now becomes, a shooting star or a shining star, they're living in their passion. They have learned their blueprint for God power. They have tapped in to that divine spark inside of them for that talent that they hold and host inside of themselves. They have perfected it, and they're giving it to the world, the people that want it the most. And those people are wanting it and accessing that power, that whatever that service is, whatever that skill set is, that passion, and that creates the star.
Oh man, awesome.
In the music industry, I always had a knack for picking out stars.
Yes, sir.
I'd pick out people out of a crowd. There'd be 30, 40, 50 people at an audition. And I would say that person. They said, well, you haven't even heard them. I don't need to hear them. There's an energy, there's an auric field around people that are in their element. They're glowing. You see, that's that thing they show around the Jesus head and all that. That's energy glowing. And you have that as long as you're expressing and you're using the genius. Genius basically means to know without learning.
Ooh.
You don't need to learn anything to be a genius. You've read 25, 3,500 books, and now you're talking about you're a genius. You ain't no genius. You're very intelligent. That's good. You can remember all that. But a genius knows without learning. It's happening in the moment. It's happening right now. It may never have happened before. They're pulling it out of the atmosphere, you see. So a star is a person who is expressing themselves like trees and plants. They express themselves. No matter how many times you cut the grass, it keeps growing. No matter how many storms come, the tree keeps growing new leaves and new limbs, and they grow in a whole nother way. They're growing in a whole golden mean, a spiral. You see, when you get into the Fibonacci, it's always expanding. It's these expanding numbers. We're expanding, but what we sometimes have done is learn how to truncate ourselves and limit ourselves based on belief, based on all these things, based on pain, trauma. And then we start having these trauma bonds and we have trauma relationships. Then we go into the trauma convention now. Everybody there got drama, and that's all they do over the whole weekend is talk about drama. And then you come back home saying, yeah, I got friends that's dramatic too. And now it's just, we can't shine until we decide we're ready to shine. And all of a sudden, the sun energy in us, the solar plexus, which is an inner sun, right? It begins to expand. That's your battery. That's your gut. That's your microflora. That's your microbiome. Once you begin to realize that you are extremely creative and that you are music and that you have to sing a song, you have to have your own rhythm. Get out of your monotone. Take off all that fake stuff for a minute. Who are you? It's like I told these guys in the studio one day, these hip hoppers was in there cutting the track, and they said, well, B, we want you to come and check out what we're doing. I said, okay, this is great. Take off the 808. They said, what you mean? Take off the 808 kick drum. What do you have? All of a sudden, the whole song fell apart. I said, so you can't make a song without that 808 drum? So really, you are not the real hip hop. You are using a tool, right, that tries to get people's attention to make you think that you got this super talent. We are all supernovas. It's like supernova 1987A. I talk about that a lot. Supernova 1987A. Look that up. When the green light from that hit the earth, the whole thing changed. It looks like a huge eye in the sky.
Right.
But we're all enlightened, but we now got to learn to become endarkened, because that's when you go into the black hole inside yourself. We all have black holes in ourselves.
Man,
that is the space. Oh, you go into a black hole, everything dies. How you ain't never been there. They got these theories and theorems, but realize that we all have to get into the music and the vibe, the serious vibes. Serious vibes. In fact, I got a television show coming out starting on, when does it come out, Billy? Is it Sunday?
Sunday, yeah, your first episode of Sirius Vibes with Dr. B Sirius on Forbidden Knowledge TV.
And we relate music and vibration and all this to everything. And I'm interviewing a lot of different producers and writers and people who have a very deep, understanding, overstanding, understanding, and exostanding of music and how music affects everything, the orchestra of the world.
Right.
Yeah. So it's called Sirius Vibes. It's coming on this Sunday.
In
fact, what's really deep? My first guest on the show is Brother Rich. And he takes it to another level. People were there watching and cried. He was so animated.
Yo, I think that's my gift, to tap into the emotional field of a human being.
Yeah.
But I have that ability to make somebody cry, not in a sad, angry way, but in a emotional, in a good way.
And I want to thank you, Billy, for being you and you opening up that world, because I was asleep for a while and I'm tired, man. You know what I'm saying? I felt like that leaf. I felt like that leaf that the brother had. Let me just rest. Indeed. But, after, connecting with you and feeling that electricity, and after really listening to what Brother Rich was saying about this combination, because he foresaw it, he was in precognition here mode. And he saw us working together. And now we've become this beautiful team with respect and love without the ego. And we do what we got to do. And this is something that everybody needs to look at now, coming together in groups. So I'm thankful to both of you, to your families, to your children, to your ancestors, however you got here, whatever you eating, keep doing it. And we're going to take this to the next level. And this Godpower and even the awards. I mean, my mind is still blown that I have been, nominated. I'm like, for what? You know what I'm saying? Because, we don't do this for, all that. We do it because we love people. We do this because we'd like to see change in the world and live in the world, or have our children live in the world who can experience change and take control, instead of the last, 6,000 years or so being under control and walking around like sheep on a damn farm. We're becoming black sheep. You got to be ready to jump that fence. And you can, once you know you can. So I want to thank both of you. It's an honor to work with both of you, and all of the people who were at Godpower 1. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The folks that have been going to our website, elevationtime.com. And, it's funny how y'all, you break that every time, every time folks go to my website, elevationtime.com. But, we realize that we got to get rid of the mental parasites, the spiritual parasites, and the physical parasites that are eating us alive. And they're not bad. They're attempting to let you know something's going on and we need to bring balance. So let's get out of the world that we were in and create a new world. We are the alchemists. We are the ones who are creating this world. We are the God particles coming together right now. And it can only happen now. So thank you very much. Much love to you all. And let's do this. Let's take it all the way. Let's show them.
Yeah.